Do you know the history and contemporary reality of African Americans in the Great Migration? Let's talk about it. When we're done, check out this article. During the early 1900s, many African Americans moved from the agricultural and segregated South to the less segregated and more industrial North and Midwest. This phenomenon was called the Great Migration, and it was a part of history where African Americans continued their search for greater economic opportunity. After a few years of growing African American presence and a recession that happened right after World War I, we saw that many whites came together and started to attack the African American new migrants. You had former veterans from World War I, and you had recent European migrants who all picked on this growing African American population, really slowing any type of economic progress African Americans were to find in these industrial cities. By the middle of the century, the industrial North and Midwest were no longer places of great economic opportunity, were increasingly becoming opportunity deserts, where the industrial sector started decreasing and there were less and less jobs for the growing African American populations. By the 1970s, black families were recognizing that the North and the Midwest urban centers were no longer a place to go for a better life and started moving back to the South, where their ancestors had come from and moved up north. And we still see today that African Americans are increasingly moving down to the South, looking for lower costs of living and still searching for that economic opportunity.